This is the industrial side. Most industrial businesses are either won or lost in the day-to-day operations. These are conversations with the operators who run these firms, talking about how they run them, what works, and what doesn't. Dustin Walter, how you doing, sir?
Good. How are you, Brian?
I'm doing. Business is booming, as I think you've heard.
There's a lot of work.
Yeah. So this is interesting for me because usually when I'm on this podcast talking to my people, like I'm not so close to them, and I haven't worked in their industry very much. I actually work for you. I'm wearing your insignia right here in a Better Restoration Services. So
You're my partner.
Well,
you don't work for me, with me.
Yeah. I work with you. So I get to ask this as an insider for once. And so let's start out by who are you?
Yeah.
What do you?
So I'm a Midwest 44-year-old, raised on the farm, a couple hours west of Chicago, and went to college, got a degree, married my high school sweetheart. I have one child, and I was in the insurance industry for a decade, supervisor, adjuster, manager, and really that led me to start a business, independent restoration services, as you said on your shirt. And really, I'm grateful. I'm grateful to be alive in this time period. You know, a lot of people can get caught up in, bad day and bad situations, but how awesome is it to be alive, with the technology we have and, the food that we have and the housing and Maslow's hierarchy of needs.
Yeah.
Just amazing time to be alive. And looking for great partners such as yourself. I have an abundance mindset. I think that there's a lot of work out there. And so really just trying to make partners and customers and everyone happy with water, fire, mold, and helping them learn insurance, how policies work. And when they do have that situation, we can come out, evaluate it, and let them know, if it's covered or not, and really take care of them with a 5-star service. So rambled a little bit there, but I'm really just a pretty simple guy that is grateful. I get my fulfillment out of helping people, and just think that there's a lot of opportunity and that the future is bright.
Yeah, and so I don't know would you classify this as a holding company or because this is something that even when I interview people myself to work for the company, I'm like, we're basically a franchise, but we're not a franchise. What would you say this is?
Yeah, that's really a good question. So I call us a network, but a lot of times what I'll say is that we're like a community or a cooperative, right? So it is a lot like a franchise. And the reason why I designed it the way that I did, and I'll get into that a little bit, is I wanted to give younger people who have time and energy and opportunity, and I have knowledge and capital. And I always thought in business, there was kind of a disconnect where people would, work a majority of their life and then maybe own a business in their later years. And then, it'd be 100%. They wouldn't be open to feedback because they've been through it. And I've always thought that there was a big need in kind of bridging those two. So the way that this works is I look for people that have time and want to own a business, and we train them. We set them up with, the capital for enough runway, the equipment. We've built a back office where you or whoever as the owner can focus a lot on the customer, the situation of the day, and marketing when jobs aren't coming in. And then the back office can handle a lot of the specialized things. So, answering the phone, negotiating, writing estimates, accounting, and all of those things. So it's really an opportunity where someone can come in and own, roughly a third of the business. And it really equals more than 100 ownership in this way. If you come in traditionally, you work for 5 years, it's going to take you 5 years if you're successful, right? And 7 out of 8 businesses fail. But even if you're successful, it's going to take 5 years to build your marketing, to build your business to a point where you're going to make, a couple $100,000. Whereas this opportunity, while you only own a third, you can really focus on serving the customer and furthering the marketing while the specialized back office can do what they can do. And so we have a situation where, not that it's all about money, but money talks.
Right.
it can be a 7-figure business year one. And then the growth from there is, can you find good people? People are business at the end of the day, and really grow and expand, focus on the things that are important in the field. And so with all of that, we have people doing a couple 100,000, take home within the first year or two. And we have some people that have been with us for 3 years that are making $1 million plus. And so some people own businesses for 20 or 30 years and don't, bring home $1 million plus. So yeah.
Yeah, and I'd say like obviously everything looks better from the outside and worse from the inside. But when I started my market, it was like, is there a single thing I'm doing right? But this month, I think I'm close to like 100K in revenue. And I remember when I used to be a searcher or someone trying to buy a business, like running into companies that were like smaller than what we've built in the last like 2 months. So it's like, it's kind of interesting.
Yeah, I would say, if you back out and I'm really interested in finance and economics and history. So if you look at, macroeconomics right now in this country, a lot of people, like, you have haves and have-nots. And a lot of people, I think, that are have-nots maybe look at the haves and they think, man, I would like that. Or man, I'd like, kind of like you said, I'd like to have a business like that. And then when you get into it and you start doing it and you spend 12, 14, 16-hour days doing that and serving people, I think you have a different appreciation for people that build. I think you have a different appreciation for people that employ people, right? Because it can be really challenging to, bring in enough work that you can support other people. But of course, there's a balance and it's never nonstop work. So you have to have the right amount of employees. You have to have the right amount of work coming in. And so I think another benefit of having like a cooperative like this is you can lean on other owners that have owned for a few years to ask questions, right? And make sure that you're doing, things properly. But also it's a situation where if you get slow, you can send your employees to another location to help, or you can bring, some of another location's people in to help you and really lean on the back office in certain times. And so there's no right or wrong way to do business. I think that it's what sacrifice you're willing to, to make. And I think in this business specifically, the sacrifice is the 24/7, the availability, the grit and the grind, right? And I always say that the slow times make you appreciate the busy times, and the busy times make you appreciate the slow times. And so I just really think it's something where you can lean on other locations, the brand, people that have done it, and build people beside you that help well, and really build it to the size that you want.
Got it. That makes a lot of sense. But I'm curious, like, what was exactly the idea? Because in some ways, like, it's a cliche. Like, I built this business to solve my own problem. So, like, you're a property and claims insurance guy. Like, when people have a Cat 1, Cat 2, Cat 3 water loss, or they have a fire, they have mold or whatever. I guess probably not mold as much, but they have some sort of damage to their home. You need some sort of vendor you can trust to actually do it right. But like, what was the idea? Because I'm assuming that a lot of insurance adjusters run into bad restoration companies, and they don't just like start one to say like, I'm gonna just figure this out myself. Like, why did you feel like doing this?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. So I've made several pivots and changes. I've never dreamed that I would be in the spot that I'm at now. So originally, I wanted to work my way up to possibly be a leader within insurance, right? And as you become a supervisor and manager and move up, you kind of learn that the corporate game can be, a different game, as people know. So I was kind of topped out there and knew that the future wasn't there. Well, as an adjuster, like you kind of said, you see different companies, and homeowners were calling me to ask me questions, after hours or even after I handled their claim. And I would always like helping them. And so I met the right person that had a connection with the insurance company I worked for, and we decided to go out, and give it a try. And so really the invention was, hey, corporate isn't going to work. Then going out, starting it. We got a lot of work from the insurance at first, and then that kind of died down a little bit. So then it was marketing. How can work come in? A lot of people in our industry, they lean on TPAs or the insurance directly. And we wanted to build, online where the customers are leaving 5-star and they know that they can count on us. And we can kind of counterbalance the insurance and them coming out and saying, this is all you get. So we wanted to be experts. We wanted to help. We understood the policies. So then that took it to the next level. Well, then I wanted to find people that I could train, and I thought that I would start a couple of those. Well, then the challenge is it's very hard to find partners that you can train for, let's say, 6 months, and you can train them on everything. Because how many people are good at operations and accounting and marketing, right? And so one of the huge challenges as a small business is you have to wear a lot of hats. As a corporation, you can have, specialized people in those different areas. So morphed from one location, then it was build a few with, people like that. Then I realized I had to build a back office to then support it. So around COVID is where we really shifted to find somebody that can specialize in helping the customer, getting the work done, marketing when they're slow, and then the back office can fill everything else. And then the biggest bottleneck was people. And I believe that business is people at the end of the day, unless you have an invention or something, But as far as the service industry, it's all people. So we could start 500 locations nationwide if we had 500 Brians, but right now we've got, roughly 30. And I really just want to grow to the point where the people that I partner with are happy, right? And they're building something that helps support their life, their family's life. They're finding people that can work beside them that are happy, and they're happy with the wages and the situation that they have. And so whether that's 50 or 500, I'm going to be happy. And that's really my way to give back. So it really was from corporate to one small business to a few businesses, now into, a back office, and we'll see how many we can build. But helping people along the way is the necessity.
Let's talk about the back office a little bit, because this is something that comes up a lot when you, like, let's say, hold companies or roll-ups or whatever. Like, we're going to centralize the back office, and nobody knows what that means exactly.
Sure.
I feel like me talking to both customers and employees of my own location, the back office seems like the boogeyman, kind of like what does that mean? Who's in the back? It's like I don't know if you're not going to get this maybe, but there's a TV show off of La Femme Nikita called Nikita, and there's a CIA spook agency called Division. So that's what I think of when I talk about the back office.
Yep. Was that TNT La Femme Nikita?
I think CW.
Okay. Yeah. I do remember that.
So it's this spooky CIA agency.
Yeah.
What is it? Break it down. How does that work?
So it's several people that specialize in what they do, and how I'll explain that is, let's start with the call center. There's a lot of businesses that have a call center, and when a lot of people think of call centers, let's be honest, they think of low-waged employees that are just sitting around waiting for the phone to ring. Well, what's different with us is, since our average job is $10,000 plus and the phone doesn't always ring off the hook, these leads are super important. So the first person that I hired to answer our phone has their doctorate degree. Now, that's not a necessity that they had to, but it just goes to show the quality of that type of person. So the back office starts with the phone ringing, who answers it. That person is then going to walk that customer through us coming out to their house. They're going to pass that lead on to the local owner or manager. Then, the field kind of takes it from there. When the field is done a few days later, they're going to turn their paperwork in. Then the back office takes over again. So it is an estimate writer. We have several estimate writers, and we work in a program called Xactimate. And so they are specialized in what they do. And then we have people that negotiate with the insurance company. So we take that estimate that was written, we turn that in, then the insurance company has to reach out to somebody. They're going to reach out to one of our negotiators. They're going to talk back and forth on why Brian pulled this and why he tried that. They're going to reach an agreement. Then we have some specialized people that, kind of call in to check on things. Did they get all the paperwork and documentation? Did they send a check? And then there are roles like marketing. So we have specialized people for online marketing and any way to kind of get our brand out there. We have accounting, so bookkeepers and CPAs. And then we have leadership. So from there, we have people that are tying everything together. And of course, having locations scattered throughout the country, communication is really key. So we wanted to have a system where not only could we specialize from the call in to the payment when we're done, but we wanted leadership to work with the individual locations to tie it and really for it to feel like one company. At the end of the day, we're several LLCs and we're trying to cover the map, but we also have, specialized employees helping in every step of the way.
Got it. And so you don't have to give me exact numbers if you don't want to, because you may not even really know, but how many people are part of that broader corporate back office side?
Yeah, we've got roughly 15. So yeah. And I think we're set up right now. I think up to maybe 20 employees could handle about 100 million in revenue. So we have doubled almost every single year. Now, with that said, it's very hard to double once you continue to double, right? Like law of averages. Yeah. But I'll say that over 30 locations, we're going to average this year about 60 million. So roughly about 2 million per location. Now, we have some locations that do 500,000 and some locations that do 5 million, but a lot of room for growth. But just to give you an idea on how many employees in the back office can handle about how many locations and how much revenue.
Yeah, I heard there's this guy in Cleveland that's going to do a little bit more, but
he's going to take over the world.
Okay, so let's say you partner with someone and I know from experience, but I'm just explaining this to the listener. You can partner with someone to start with 0 employees, but technically they have a team of 15 from day one.
Exactly. And the reason that the business can be great in year 1 and year 2, and let's talk about any other business that you start. You're typically going to lose money the first year or 2, right? You're going to rent a place or buy a place. You're going to have a bunch of employees that cost you a bunch of money. You're going to have to get, marketing and get customers in the door. It's very hard for most businesses to make money in year 1 or year 2. A huge advantage of this and why it's worth taking roughly a third is you're going to get those 15 people for little or a low nominal monthly fee. You can come in as an owner, and that's, not necessarily a salary that you have to pay. So you can bring in a couple full-timers and some part-timers. And really, for the marketing and the work that's coming in, you're going to have a nominal and very low cost for indirect wages. You're going to be able to make 50+% in the net margin because of, those low costs. So it's a great industry and a great setup if you want to make money almost immediately.
So this very the days of the Statue of Liberty and Staten Island and the American dream kind of thing, but this is not this kind of a specialized industry. So what are you looking for in people to be able to partner with you on this and basically be your owner operator in a location?
Yeah, that's a great question. I typically don't like people that are in the industry because they bring bad habits and such. And I would really say that there's not many qualifications that you need to be a great partner, which really goes to show how much opportunity there is. So somebody can come in within 3 years and make millions of dollars. They need to have, and all of this may sound cliche, but it's true. So they need to be available. So in our 24/7 business, there can be jobs coming in at 6 a.m., 6 p.m., nights, weekends. So it's something where I really tell people you need to at least give a couple years of your life and be available. Doesn't mean you're going to work 16 hours every day, but you're going to be available when you need to. Another thing is going to be grit. So you have to come in and you have to be balanced and know how to talk to a little old lady that had, a flood. You have to know how to talk to a businessman that had a flood, and really how to, go out immediately, close them, and get the work done. So also be able to balance employees and whatnot. So it's availability, grit, determination, and the secret sauce, I think, is people that grow up and they know what they want, not necessarily what they want to do. But I say a lot of times, like in your 20s and 30s, if you know that you want to build something and give a lot of your time and energy so that something can then pay off in your later years, it's somebody with that mindset, because they're never going to mind, going out at night or working on a weekend, because they know what they're investing that time into versus the clock in, clock out. There's nothing wrong with that. Just that mindset isn't going to fit in well here, or somebody that wants to maybe start a family and be around their wife raising 6 kids in their 20s. It's somebody that is giving their time and it's going to pay off in later years.
Yeah. So, like, for instance, my fiance is in residency. So, like, even if she wanted to see me, she wouldn't. So, like, what should I be doing for the next 3 years? Probably building something that could be more meaningful than, like, watching Netflix. So, I feel like, yeah, I've probably been saner than I am right now. I've probably been more high functioning than I am right now. But
I think that's actually something interesting that you mentioned, because I feel like the situation you have right now in residency is opposite, right? So she's got to put in, 6, 8, 10 years, whatever it is, depends when you start counting technically, to then get a position, right? And start earning money. And there's plenty of people that say that's a great investment. And there's plenty of people that say it's not for the money, it's what they want to do. But in contrast, you're starting and you almost go through your residency once you start, right? So you're going through a similar grind where maybe you don't have to put in 8, 10, 12 years, but you're putting in like those, 2 to 4 years. And it's very similar where it's long days, it's stressful, it's building something, but then you're going to have something that then kind of like pays off from there. So I see a lot of, as opposite as it is in some ways, it's very similar where you're making that sacrifice and then you both are getting something for that after the sacrifice is made.
yeah, and I think when you asked me in like an interview or something, like if I was like an unstoppable force versus like an immovable object, and like I told you, I didn't know which one I am. I know for a fact now I'm not an unstoppable force because I've been stopped. But I think these folks that get through residency like are unstoppable forces. They're learning so many molecular details about like medicine and moving forward to be able to do it versus us. It's like, well, I'm not really that trained on any. I'm learning by doing, and so like an unlimited amount of problems are coming at me, and like the only thing right I can do is not be not be not be moved. Like,
Yeah.
understand that like I have to withstand the waves that are coming at me and not be moved.
You know what I love about business, and I would say business at large, is when you look at, a doctor, it was always scary to me to have to put hours in your like 50s, 60s, and 70s. So what I mean is like build something where you're dependent on that. And what scared me about like being a doctor was you go through all these years of school, but then unless you build a business, you really have to still trade your hours for dollars, right? It's sometimes hard to say. Whereas in business, and especially what you have, while you are trading your hours for dollars right now, the bigger thing you're trading it for is you're building something that is going to pay you in the future. And not only is it cool in that aspect, the other thing is the more you build, the more people you can help. So the culture you build and the foundation you build, like let's say in Cleveland, and you can build something that's $1 million or $50 million, even in that area, the people that you bring and work beside you, you're making a difference to them. You're also making a difference to their family and their children that may go to college in the future. And then you're making a difference to, your family and your future. And this business could pay you for 40 or 50 years. And it can also make people happy for 40 or 50 years. So the decisions and all of the things you do in the first couple of years can have a lasting impact for a long time. And I think that that's special. And there's not many things that are like that.
Yeah. Let's dive down a little bit because I don't know we've gotten into such specifics about what restoration is. So like maybe we're talking about impacting lives, but in my mind, like the way that I would put this is like someone's house could get flooded by a storm, a tornado. I'm in Ohio, Youngstown had a tornado. People's basements started to get flooded. Like there could be California wildfires caused a fire. Somebody's got to do something about that. Could be mold growth. Like, but what is it that a restoration company does?
Yeah, great question. So a majority of the work is insurance, but it doesn't have to be. So think of anything that happens. Oftentimes it's going to be sudden, although mold could take time. And a lot of things what we say is just call us if you have anything wrong with your house. We would love to have the opportunity to come out. Another skill that you've acquired is like being an engineer, a problem solver, a critical thinker, right? So we want to have the opportunity to go out. Sometimes we have to go in your crawl space, sometimes in your attic. We want to take a look at the situation. So like you said, there's times where it's obvious and it's a fire or there's water everywhere. But there's plenty of times where people see spots on a wall, or maybe it's more humidity. And we take a look at your house. We know how things work, such as plumbing and electrical, and we can problem solve. We can then help you, and it's free for us to come out. We can take a look at it and let you know after looking or talking through your insurance policy, if this is worth filing a claim or if this is something that we can take care of out of your pocket. And so really our specialty is a mixture of like an ambulance company and a lawyer. So we will go out right away so you don't have to worry about it, but yet we will critically think and help you through your insurance policy, which is a legal contract, and help, determine if it's worth filing a claim or if it's something that we can handle and how much that costs.
That's interesting, the lawyer part, because like the assumption is like a blue collar businesses or the trades or guys in trucks and they're not using their brain, but you almost like equated them to lawyers.
Yeah, well, I would be interested a little bit to hear what you think as far as a big thing that I learned is how gray the world is, especially as you get older, right? So I think a lot of us are raised and everything is black and white. Like you have to pay this much in taxes, or, you have to go this route through school. And I would be interested to hear you. And let's just use this as an example. They oftentimes cover sudden and accidental water, and that's how the policy is written. So like before you got into this industry, what would you think sudden and accidental water is? Like how much water is that and how much time?
I would have just assumed any water is like sudden one time. Like I would have said everything is coverable by insurance.
That's interesting. And I think a lot of people do think that way. And so that's another thing that we can really help, right? Because let's be honest, the insurance company, they're a business, they're a for-profit business. And so if a homeowner sees something and files a claim, number one, when you file a claim, even if it's not paid, that goes on your record. And it does matter. So they don't want to see people filing a lot of claims, even if they're not paid. So a big advantage of us coming out is before you file that claim and have it on your record, we will also help you critically think. And for you to know, all right, not absolutely everything is covered, but here's how the policy is written. Here's how we can help you. And now you've got this gray situation where in a legal contract, we can possibly help you get it covered.
Yeah. And I think it's weird. Like actually the lawyer thing is starting to make more sense. I'm going over this with Drew Charles is sort of like my area manager type person. And like some of these situations, it's like the customer needs us to just like make a call that like this should be covered and you should believe this should be covered. And like whether or not anyone's telling you this should be covered, this should be covered. And that's not too different from being a lawyer and be like, you're innocent. Based on the evidence, you're innocent. So like whether or not the trial is over yet, you're innocent. And we should behave in that way. And we should take these steps because you're innocent. We shouldn't take the plea deal. Which insurance, what is that? Self-pay?
Well, I love that because also you have people that fight on both sides in a court, right? So, you may have an adjuster that comes out and their main goal is to not pay out or not cover it. So in a court of law, prosecutor, but then you have defense. And so whether it's, covered or not, you have somebody putting you in a light that's going to help you. So even if, you are, everybody is innocent until proven guilty. A lot of times in insurance, it's not covered unless you prove that it is. So what we're doing is we're helping you put your claim in a light that you have the best chance of getting it covered. Doesn't mean we always get it covered, but you're going to have the best help with a company that's experienced, that have seen this for, thousands of times for, decades. And we can put it and help you put it in a light that has the best chance of getting it covered. So you're right in comparing it to like a courtroom situation.
Gotcha. No, that's interesting. I guess let's zoom out a bit. This is a trade. Trades private equities coming into trades, and this stuff doing things better or operationally more sound is it's kind of like a trodden path that's already been done. What do you feel like this industry is going to become in the next, let's say, 10, 20 years?
Yeah, that's a great question because, I see roofing, and there's a lot of roofers every day that are worried that policies are going to dramatically change to the point where, the hailstorm comes in every 5 years. The insurance is going to make it where you either have too big of a deductible or it's depreciated too much. And so, over the last 100 years, you've seen insurance policies only cover fire to then cover a lot of different things. And now they're slowly getting back to only covering fire. Now, do I think that it's 10 years away from water not being covered? Not necessarily, but I do think they're going to do a couple things. One, you see them pulling out of certain states. So like Florida and California, if you kind of follow the news or see in the news, there are insurance companies that if they can't charge a certain amount for insurance policies, they pull out of the state. And all of this is heavily regulated through the government. The other thing they're going to do is they're going to continue to kind of change your deductible from maybe 250, 500 to a percentage where you're only going to file bigger losses. And then the last thing is they're going to adopt and they have things like water shutoff switches that they may make you install on your home. So really it's going to be, can you continue to do preventative things, which is good. Nobody wants to have, these bad things happen. And if they can put enough preventative things in place, then they're going to continue to cover it like normal. But if things get out of hand, they can't charge what they need to charge, and they can't prevent a lot of this from happening, you're going to see a lot less coverage on the smaller claims, and they're only going to cover bigger ones over 15 or 20 years.
Yeah, so it's a constant battle to prove your case in terms of your home should have coverage, your home, this happens to you or that happens to you, it's not your fault kind of thing.
Yeah, that's another thing that I think people will be interested to think about. So a lot of people are hesitant to file a claim because they say their rates are going to go up. But how many people are listening to this? They've had insurance for 5, 10, 20 years. They've never filed a claim. Has your insurance gone down because you haven't filed a claim in that time? No, your insurance goes up. So it's not that they charge more because you file a claim. It's that it's this big pool that everybody shares in. So if you have a legitimate claim, it's good to file and have your insurance take care of it. You just don't want to file the really small ones, where they could surcharge a little amount. But don't think of my insurance is going to go up if I file, because your insurance is going to go up no matter what.
Yeah, it's almost and I'm going to get in trouble for this, but it's almost like picking and choosing your battles with your wife. You can bring up problems all the time. Is it really worth it? Because bringing up even one problem is going to go astronomically bad. But sometimes it's actually better for the relationship.
I think.
Which I'm gonna get beat up eventually. I hope my.
I think that's how I choose every day. Yeah, every day I wake up, it's choose your battles, right? In every situation. And let's be honest, every day the decisions that you make add up to years and careers, right? And so picking your battles, doing the right thing, helping people, surrounding yourself with people that are going to help you, it all equals a pretty good life when you add it up. So I just appreciate the opportunity to partner with somebody like you and to serve customers and really to help them through these difficult times, because we're not Disneyland. A lot of the situations we get in, it's one of the worst days that they've had.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it's almost like the opportunity to be a hero, but like, and I felt like a villain a lot, but like, honestly, I'm a big movie guy. And so like, I just watched The Odyssey. I don't know if you've seen that. I remember watching Superman.
Yeah.
The biggest heroes are often seen as villains by somebody, because if you're willing to take so much responsibility over a situation, that means you're willing to take so much blame in a situation. And so sometimes I forget, like, it's my job to take that blame too. Like, I can't then start to get rational and be like, oh, well, I'm the one here trying to make it better. Your adjuster's not calling you back. I'm the one trying. Like, that's not being a hero. You have to take the whole thing. You have to take all the weight of that. Like, you have to be immovable.
Yeah, I think in modern America, heroes and villains are a lot harder to assign, because let's just take like this business and a claim, for example. So if you go out and you don't get coverage or don't help the customer, then you're going to be, a villain or not a hero to them. Let's say you go out and you shine and you do a great job, you get them coverage, and they have a $50,000 loss, and their home is brought back to pre-condition. Well, the adjuster has to pay $50,000, so they might not get the bonuses and the pay raises. The shareholders of that company are paying out more, so they're making less profit. So like, while you may be a hero to that side, are you a hero to the insurance company that, pays out billions of dollars? And then what about the people that have insurance that don't use it, and now they have policies go up because the insurance company needs to make a certain rate? And so I guess I'm just saying, like, yes, you can make the best decision in the moment, but I don't really believe in like heroes and villains, because there's always somebody on the other side that could make an argument against, no matter what situation.
Yeah. It's a game of trade-offs. No, I mean, it's been awesome, man. I don't know if there's any last thoughts of like kind of things that you want people to know about you, about what you're doing with IRS.
One thing that I'll add is just that I think with the changes in this country and really the modern world with AI and some of the white collar stuff, I think that there's an amazing opportunity in the blue collar space. Whether you're talking our industry, plumbing, electrical, I would strongly suggest that people at least look into it. And if you go down that path, there might be opportunities where you can get ownership right away, but there also are opportunities where you come in and you learn something, and then you can always, start your own and go down that path. So I just really think that blue collar and the trades have been something that haven't really been, quote unquote, sexy in the past. Yeah. Or if you're a guy, at the bar, you're not going to want to talk about that. But I think that there's an amazing opportunity. So I would just suggest everybody to look into that. And thank you for having me on. This has been great. And always anybody can reach out to me or the company if they have any further questions. Would love to talk.
What would be a good way to do that? Like LinkedIn? Are you on there? Emails? Like what's the right thing? I can put it in the show notes after this.
Yeah. LinkedIn would be great to reach out. And also we have many websites. We're in a lot of cities. You can go on to Independent Restoration Services, Google us, go on to our website. We have some numbers, call in, and happy to chat.
Awesome. Well, Dustin, this was great. Always enjoyed talking to you.
Thanks, Brian.
Talk to you soon.
Keep at it. You're doing great. See you, man.